Hello and welcome back to the Watford Way. And it's been a long time since we've done a match preview, but we are back. It's pre-season. It's Watford pre-season, and we're back with a match preview. And for the first time, supporters are back inside Vicarage Road since I think last December, when there was a couple of games near Christmas that supporters could attend. But we're back for pre-season. Hopefully that continues for the rest of the Premier League season, and we are here to discuss that fixture today. Also discuss a little bit about the home kit, but we'll do a whole separate video on that as well. But I'm delighted today to be joined by Finn. Finn, how you doing, mate? And what did you think of the home kit launch that happened earlier today?
I'm all right, thank you. And the kit launch, I think it was very similar to the one that had been leaked, wasn't it? It was the black lines with the sort of fade thing. We all knew it was coming, really, because the people that leaked it were very reliable usually. Personally, I don't think it's terrible. I think it's not the worst kit we've had ever. I just think possibly the sponsors may be a little bit too big, and I don't know. It just the yellow's a bit too dark for me. I don't.
Yeah, I do agree that it doesn't quite look like the standard Watford yellow, does it?
Yeah. No, it doesn't. It doesn't quite look like Watford. I don't know why. There's something about it. And the only other thing I would say is when you look at the close-up photos, I don't know whether this is down to, I don't know, they were rushing at the end or whatever. But if you look, it looks like the logo, the Kelme badge, and then the sponsor are literally just stuck on a t-shirt. So I don't know whether.
I think we should touch briefly on the sponsor. Obviously, it's quite evident to everybody we have got a new sponsor. Very, very large on the top fin, isn't it? What's your thoughts on on number one, the actual sponsor itself? It's a betting company using cryptocurrency. But secondly, the actual sponsor is just quite large, isn't it? And it does take up quite a large portion, of that chest area.
In terms of the sponsor itself, I think it's a really interesting deal because I don't know whether this could lead to, Watford in the distant future, Watford buying players using cryptocurrency and just using cryptocurrency more than normal currency. Again, I just find it very interesting. But in terms of on the kit, it's just, if it was smaller, I think it would be quite a nice kit. I just think the size of it it draws your eyes straight to that. So it's strange. It could be a nice kit if they just make a couple of changes, I think.
Yeah, I mean, out of 10, I'd probably give it like a 6.5, 6.75, something like that. As you said, it's not the worst kit you've ever seen, but we've also had much better kits, in the past than that one. Just a little bit of quick information before we move on to obviously the match we're here to talk about. It's all coming from Adam Leventhal for The Athletic. He's put out a really, really good article today, kind of detailing the process that went into making the kit. Bit of information here about the deal itself. And he says it's a 3-year deal with stake.com, which is a kit sponsor. Includes an initial payment of approximately £5 million, with further bonuses due depending on the club's performance in the Premier League and other competitions. And that is, Finn, a record deal for Watford, a record kit deal in terms of revenue. So that can only be a good thing, can't it?
It is. I literally cannot think of anything negative about that. Whether that money goes on developing facilities, goes on straight back onto players, it could be. It's a really good. It's better than previous deals. Let's say that.
Yes, I do agree, and I'm happy with it. I think it's one of the kits where it will grow on me over the season. I think that going on Saturday myself, when I see it on the players, I think it will look better then. I can obviously go into the shop, buy the kit if I want to buy it. Really looking forward to it.
It's similar to last season because if you remember last season when the kit was released, everyone's like, "Oh, what's this? This is terrible. Kilmay, what have you done?" And then it sort of seemed to grow on everyone. And already for me personally, this morning I was like, "Oh, this is awful. 2 out of 10." And then look, I've just looked at it before we went live, and I was like, "Oh, it's not awful. I'd give it about a 5.5 now." So who knows? It'll grow on us. It'll grow on us.
Yeah, I think so. I think with last season as well, obviously the promotion that obviously helps in terms of how a kit feels to the supporter, and that is now kind of an iconic kit. We got promoted in that kit, so kits do grow on you, and hopefully we'll have a really good season in this kit. Right, moving on to the match we're here to talk about, which is Watford versus West Brom. Finn, I know your dad does have a close affinity with West Brom. Coming from a family where you do have some correlation with West Brom there in your family, Finn. How has this fixture gone down with your family, and what are you thinking about it? Because it's the first game in front of supporters, a lot to digest here. But obviously you can't make it either, Finn, which is such a shame. But from your household, Finn, how are you feeling ahead of this pre-season game?
I was so excited when it was announced. I know everyone else will see it as just when the young kids out, give them game time. I'm like, no, we have to win this game. There is no future if we don't win this game. This club's a mess if we don't win this game. Like you say, I was gonna go to watch it, but due to reasons I can't. So again, devastated that I couldn't watch it. But I think take away the fact that it's West Brom and any connections the game has with me personally, I think it's like every other pre-season friendly. It's a good chance to get the young players out, good chance to get the new players out, see what they're all about. And I always love pre-season friendlies because you go to them, you chat to a few mates, no one really cares about the result really. I always love pre-seasons, and I think, like I said, it's a good chance to get some of the new players out, because you saw Norwich played against a team, I can't remember who, but they won 1-0, and it was their brand new signing that scored a last minute winner. And I just think it's a good chance to see what the likes of Loser, what the likes of Josh King are going to bring to the table. Because I know Dapo Mabude, he's scored a couple in a pre-season friendlies up to this point. It'd be nice to see him get a few minutes on Saturday.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with everything you've said there, Finn. And just seeing our new signings in person, watching football in person, Finn, so different to watching it on TV. And we're lucky we live in a society where football is quite accessible. Obviously, you have to pay legally quite a lot of money to watch it through Sky Sports, BT Sport, but football generally is quite accessible to watch from home. But when you're there in the stadium, you've got the crowd there. Fans haven't been in stadiums for such a long time. In terms of Xisco, Finn, and how he's going to be feeling, he's not really met the Watford fans yet. Obviously, he kind of saw the fans when we got promoted, but he's not actually been in the stadium with fans yet, Xisco Munoz. So surely, that's a really, really good thing to happen.
Yeah, I think we all love him already, don't we? I can't, honestly, for the life of me, couldn't find a Watford fan that doesn't like Xisco. Even if they don't like him as a manager, they like him as a person. He just seems like such a great guy, and I think, quote unquote, meeting us at the friendlies will be even better for a fan-manager relationship. And I think that's probably one of the most important things when it comes to a manager. It's sort of down to them and the players specifically to build a connection between the fans and club. If you look at a team like Arsenal, none of the players are making any sort of effort to, bring the fans into the club or whatever. I just think Xisco's the perfect man for Watford, and seeing him in the flesh with a fullish stadium on Saturday will do a world of good for us, the club, and him personally.
Yeah, can I just say, I'm not entirely aware if there's going to be a way for supporters to watch who aren't at Vicarage Road. Fingers crossed there is. Fingers crossed, hopefully Watford will set up some sort of stream you can watch on YouTube for free or something like that. Because I think it would be a real shame if general supporters can't watch who aren't at the game. In terms of how the match will pan out, Finn, obviously it's pre-season. Obviously the result really doesn't matter. Obviously I'd prefer us to win. But do you think we're going to see Xisco try a number of systems potentially ahead of the new season? Obviously we finished with the 4-3-3, which worked quite well. Sarr on the right, Semmer on the left, Gray, Pedro up front. You know, are we going to maybe try a 4-4-2 or something like that during these friendlies?
I think it is very common for managers to go with secondary systems and stuff like that in friendlies. I wouldn't be at all surprised to see him go with 1-11 for 45 minutes and then a completely different 11 for the second half. I think that's also quite common. What I would like to see is, I think my only criticism for Xisco is the fact that he has absolutely no plan B. I think when sort of queries are being raised about this early in his tenure as Watford manager, he's sort of like near the end of games, he'd switch to a 3 at the back just to, you know, see how that went. But the players looked lost. No one knew what was going on. I think we'll see a couple of different systems against.
I think we've got the depth to try out new systems. Finn, you have to think about all this depth we've now got in the midfield. I know there's a lot of speculation going on about Hughes and Chalobah, but if you list off the amount of midfielders we've got, Cleverley, Goslin, Loser, Atebo, Hughes, Chalobah, Keener, Zinkernagel, there's so much depth and strength there, Finn. Surely, you know, that gives you the ability to try out different systems. And, you know, if it's not going right in that 4-3-3 formation that we obviously prefer, maybe it does give Xisco the license to change something.
Yeah, I think it would be really nice to see sort of a 4-2-3-1, because I think in the Premier League we're gonna have a lot less of the ball. I think everyone knows that. It's a lot harder to play sort of expansive attacking football against obviously the best 20 teams in England. So I think we do need to have that sort of, not a more defensive system, but just a system with more cover. So like a 4-2-3-1 with maybe Chalobah and a more forward-thinking midfielder next to him, say Loser. You've got the rock in Chalobah in front of the defence, and then you've got Loser to use his expressive passing and stuff like that. Yeah. Again, even if we try that and it doesn't work, it can always merge back into the 4-3-3 if that central attacking midfielder is someone like Philip Zinkernagel, who can play anywhere across the front, whatever the number is. I think we do need to see a backup system this season. You can get away with it in the Championship, but I don't think we will in the Premier League.
I do think that in the Premier League, you know, I think we will stay up, Finn. I really do. You know, I think that we do have a better squad than last time. Potentially, we were in the Premier League. I think that this squad we've got now, although maybe we don't have players like Delafeu and Troy playing at the top of their game, I think that overall we've got more depth in certain positions. I think centre-back, Finn, especially, we'll quickly touch on that now, actually. Sirielta and Troost-Ekong, you know, surely, Finn, that's, you know, so much better than the partnership we had back when we got relegated in the Premier League. And, you know, that can only be a positive, surely.
Yeah, I mean, having watched Craig Dawson trying to relegate us the entire of last season, it was so refreshing to see two good centre-backs comfortable on the ball. Bit of an over-exaggeration, that, but it's just so nice to see. And I think for 5 years we were in the Premier League, defence was our downfall. That's no secret to any Premier League fan. And
I think the hierarchy learned from that, Finn, and I think that's why we saw them go out and get Troost-Ekong and Sirielta.
Well, you say that, it could just be a bit of luck, because when Sirielta joined, we're like, oh, who's this guy? We need good defenders, not some Udinese outcast. If you think about it, we didn't sign any new defenders, any new central defenders other than from Udinese in the summer. So it could be seen as identifying a problem and resolving it, or it could be completely luck. But either way, they're two good centre-backs, and I think they are both incredibly capable of playing in the Premier League at a high level. I remember there was rumours about Southampton going in for Sirielta, and I think, again, that's a compliment to how good he's been over the last 6 months or so. With us improving what was a disastrous area, let's say that, the season we went down, I can only see it being a positive. So, yeah, I think Troost-Ekong and Sirielta will surprise some non-Watford fans in the Premier League next season.
Absolutely agree, Finn. We've got a question here from Owen. And I put this question to you, Finn. He says, who is your favourite new signing? We've mentioned a couple of them already, Imran Louza, Peter Atebo, but also we've got Danny Rose, Finn, Josh King, Ashley Fletcher, Kwado Obar. So who, out of the long list of signings we've made this summer, are you expecting to kind of hit the ground running and do really well at Watford?
In terms of my favourite signing, I'd say Josh King, without a doubt. He's a proven Premier League striker. Again, it will really annoy Bournemouth fans to see him scoring goals for Watford. I think he's a quality striker. I've wanted him at Watford for years. I've made post after post on Instagram about how good of a signing he'd be, and I don't think he'll hit the ground running. I think he'll need time to get back up to speed because at Everton, I don't ever remember seeing him in an Everton shirt.
Well, so I think Carlo Ancelotti kind of brought him in on false promises, said he would play a lot of football, and actually all he was useful was kind of being a bit part substitute. And I think that's what made Josh King unhappy, and that's why he's ended up joining Watford on the free transfer.
Yeah, but like he's a quality striker. There's no doubt in that. If anyone says Josh King's a bad striker, they just don't really know anything about him. I think in terms of a signing that I think will surprise, I think Peter Etebo. I don't know how you say it. Etebo.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I think he could surprise a few people. When I made my post about him on Instagram, I had countless Stoke fans messaging me, "Oh, you've got such a good player on your hands here. Please look after him. He'll do bits for you if he really wants to play for you." And I think that's the problem with that was his problem at Stoke. Apparently, he just didn't want to be there. When he wants to play, he'll play out of his skin. I think if we can get the best out of him, he'll be a really good sign. And I think he could be the Hughes replacement should he leave.
I think the stigma is, Finn, it's because it's not like a pretty signing. It's not a Josh King. It's not a Danny Rose. It's not a big caliber player, is it? It's just a player to get the job done. And but by the sounds of what you're hearing from Stoke fans messaging you, it sounds like he can play that role, Finn.
Yeah, what I've heard is he's a good box to box, and he can play it in a more defensive role, maybe the number 6 role. He's got a rocket of a right foot, and he's got good feet. That's what I've heard. That's sort of the overview of what I've been told. And I think, yeah, he could be Hughes's understudy this season should Hughesy stay. And if Hughesy leaves, then who knows? He could come into starting 11 and surprise everyone.
I want to take it back to West Brom, Finn, and talk a little bit about them. Obviously, you do have them West Brom connections in your family. Thankfully, you chose the best club in the world, Watford. In terms of West Brom, Finn, what are you expecting from them in this game? I know it's difficult for them. They've just been relegated from the Premier League. They made a new manager appointment, didn't they? So, in terms of West Brom, what are you expecting to see from them in this game? Are you expecting to see maybe Matthias Pereira make a return? It seems like he's gone on strike because the club are refusing to give him kind of a transfer. And we know how good of a player Matthias Pereira is. So, are you expecting to see kind of what we've discussed about Watford from West Brom, a lot of experimental formations, different players playing, or are you expecting them to come and, give us a good game? Because the example I could give from last pre-season was when we played Tottenham at Vicarage Road. And that was a fantastic game to watch. And, watching that game, you wouldn't realise that was a pre-season game because, it was such an exciting game to watch. So what are you expecting to see from West Brom, Finn?
To be honest, I have no idea. I haven't kept up with any of West Brom's transfers. Whatever. I know they appointed Valerian Ismail, and I really like him as a manager. I think he'll shoot a rocket up the players. He's the man I think that will get them back into the Premier League. Because if you watch West Brom last season, they sort of seemed half-arsed. Forget relegated. What's going to happen? Our contracts will expire and we'll be rich. It's a bit like that's what it felt like to look at. I don't know if that's the case. That's just me looking from the outside in. I think we will see rotation because it's a pre-season friendly. That's what everyone does. And yeah, you mentioned us versus Tottenham last season. We drew with them, didn't we? We played really well that game.
Domingos Quina scored a banging goal in that game.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, I don't know whether it'll be a sort of we've got a point to prove. We've just gone down. We need to prove that we'll go straight back up, or it'll be a sort of, oh, really? Do we have to play in pre-season? That's so much running. Do you know what I mean? I don't really know what to expect.
Yeah, I mean, I've just got the squad up here actually, Finn, because as you say, I'm not an expert, and neither are you, on West Brom and the players they have. But some notable players they've got: Carl Bartley, Sam Johnstone in goal. Of course, he got called up to the England squad at the Euros. Jake Livermore, Alex Mowat, Grady Diagana. So they do have some good players. Robert Snodgrass as well. So they do have quality there. Obviously, they were only in the Premier League last season, so it's not like they're a bad side. Obviously, we have played a few pre-season friendlies already, Finn, behind closed doors against some Colchester, Millwall. This is a step up from that. Me going there on Saturday, I'm just hoping for a competitive game. I'm hoping to see lots of goals, and I'm hoping to see some of our new signings. Before we go, Finn, there's one more player I want to touch on who we talk about every pre-season. He was actually linked with a move to West Brom. Feels like every year he's linked with a move to West Brom, but that is, of course, Troy Deeney. He looks in good shape, Finn, in all the pre-season videos we've seen. Last year of his contract at Watford, 33 years old. What impact is Troy Deeney going to have on this squad next season? Is he going to be a starter? Is he going to be a bit part player? Or do you still potentially see him moving on? I can't really see that third option happening. But in terms of his involvement within the squad, how do you see that playing out next season?
Next season, he'll either be a 9 games a season player with 1 penalty scored, or he'll score 15 goals. Like you say, he looks in great shape. And I know it feels like we say this every year, but honestly, looking at the Instagram photos, he looks slim, he looks fast, he looks ready. And personally, I think he will. We all know Troy. He's determined. He's never going to give up easily, and I don't think he's going to do that with his Watford career. I don't see him moving on. I don't see him settling for another season on the sidelines. He will. I think he'll play, and I think he'll score goals. I don't know how many. I don't know how good he's going to be. I don't know what position he's going to play, because I remember we saw him last season in a more deeper role. He was brilliant. I would take me back to that game against Stoke where we won 2-1. He scored and played the pass that won us the penalty, and he got an assist. So, I don't know. Personally, I love Troy. He's a club legend, and if you don't love Troy, what are you doing? I think he'll do well next season.
Do you potentially see, Finn, a partnership with Josh King? Because from my perspective, when we brought Josh King in on a free transfer, it was quite evident to me that Josh King, if we played the 4-3-3 formation, would be that starting striker. But if Xisco opts to go for something else, a 4-4-2, a 2-striker formation potentially, do you see like a Troy and a Igalo partnership kind of flourishing between him and Josh King? Can you see that happening?
I think it's possible, but I don't think there's ever going to be any sort of connection between them like there was with Igalo and Deeney. I think a partnership with them could work, just like I think a partnership with Troy and Dennis could work. It's difficult because I don't think Xisco is going to move to a 2 up top formation next season.
You think he'll stick with the 4-3-3?
Yeah, but what I could see happen is the 4-3-3 with Deeney in sort of a attacking midfield role, which
that would be really different to what we've seen in recent years from Troy. But I think you saw that with Wayne Rooney actually as he aged. He did drop deeper, and he kind of eventually played in midfield. Wayne Rooney, didn't he? He lost his pace, lost some of his physicality, and as you say, Finn, he dropped deeper.
Yeah, I think Troy would be a perfect fit for that I keep wanting to say midfield, but he's not quite a midfielder. I think he'd be a perfect fit for that role. He's got an incredibly underrated range of passing. He knows the game. He can.
He's great at defending from corners as well, and just generally in the game. I think he could play in a number of positions.
Yeah, I think if we're going to see the best of Troy next season, I think it'll be in a more deeper role.
Yeah.
I personally, I don't see him. I don't see him playing with another striker on the pitch. I'll say that.
I think with Josh King as well. I mean, King is fast, but I think he's even lost a little bit of pace as well. So I don't think we're ever going to get back to them Troy and Igalo levels of partnership. I know Igalo scored 15, 16 goals that season. Troy got 13 goals. So I don't think we'll ever get back to that. But fingers crossed, we can get something similar to that, and hopefully we'll have a fantastic season. Finn, score prediction time. You know, how do you see this match panning out? Obviously, the result doesn't matter, but are you going to be positive and predict a Watford win?
I've got no idea, but just to keep up with my negative Finn legacy, I'm going to say 1-1.
1-1. I'm going to disagree with that, and I'm going to go with a exciting 3-3 draw. Lots of goals, and fingers crossed everyone will be able to watch the game at home as well if you can't get down to Vicarage Road. So, Finn, thank you very much for coming on. Really do appreciate it. Where can everybody find you on social media?
I think since last time my at's changed, but I'm now Watford FC Hub again on Instagram. Don't have a Twitter, don't have any other social media. So yeah, just go follow my Instagram.
You can find Finn at Watford FC Hub. Thank you very much for coming on, Finn. Really appreciate it. You can check out more of our videos on our YouTube channel, and you can also find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. As I said earlier today, I'll be doing a home kit review, and that'll be coming out on the channel tomorrow. So make sure to keep an eye out for that. And we'll catch you with our match reaction from the game, probably on Sunday on a live stream as well. So again, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you very, very soon.